Welcome. This video will cover AWS technical support plans. Whether you are new or continue to adopt AWS services and applications as your business solutions, AWS wants to help you do amazing things. AWS support can provide you with a unique combination of tools and expertise based on your current and future use cases. Support was developed to provide the right resources to help you succeed. We want to support all our customers, including customers that might just be experimenting with AWS. The idea is for you to be able to plan, deploy, and optimize with confidence. For account assistance, the Support Concierge is a billing and account expert who will provide quick and efficient analysis on billing and account issues. The Concierge addresses all non-technical billing and account level inquiries. If you want to ensure that you follow best practices in your AWS environment, you can use AWS Trusted Advisor. AWS Trusted Advisor is an automated service that acts like a customized cloud expert. It is an online resource that checks for opportunities to reduce monthly expenditures and increase productivity. Trusted Advisor tells you what you are doing right. It tells you where you need to watch out, and it also points out what needs to be corrected because it represents a problem in your implementation. You want to leverage Trusted Advisor as much as possible during your implementation in order to make sure you get things done right the first time. If you would like proactive guidance, AWS Support has Technical Account Managers, also known as TAMs, who are designated as your primary point of contact. The TAM can provide guidance, architectural review, and continuous ongoing communication to keep you informed and prepared as you plan, deploy, and optimize your solutions. Please note a Technical Account Manager is only available via the Enterprise Support Plan. AWS Support offers 4 plans. They are Basic, Developer, Business, and Enterprise. The Basic plan is free of charge and offers support for account and billing questions and service limit increases. The other plans offer an unlimited number of technical support cases with pay-by-the-month pricing and no long-term contracts. Customers with a developer support plan have access to additional features including best practice guidance, client-side diagnostic tools, building block architecture support, which means guidance on how to use AWS products, features, and services together. Business or enterprise support plans have access to more advanced support features, including full access to AWS Trusted Advisor and use case guidance. With business or enterprise support, you also get access to an API for interacting with Support Center and Trusted Advisor. This API allows for automated support case management and Trusted Advisor operations. Exclusive to the enterprise support plan, you have access to a Technical Account Manager, white glove case routing, application architecture guidance, management business reviews, and infrastructure event management support. AWS wants you to be able to plan, deploy, and optimize with confidence. You get to select the plan that best fits your needs. In addition to understanding the costs and features of the different support plans, it is critical that you understand the service levels that are associated with each. In addition to the support plan you select, the case severity will drive the type of response that you receive. There are 5 different severity levels. Critical, your business is at risk. Critical functions of your application are unavailable. Urgent, your business is significantly impacted. Important functions of your application are unavailable. High, important functions of your application are impaired or degraded. Normal, non-critical functions of your application are behaving abnormally or you have a time-sensitive development question. Low, you have a general development question or you want to request a feature. Note that there is no case support with the basic support plan. Keep the response times in mind when you determine which support plan is best for your organization. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.
It's now time to review the module and wrap up with a discussion of a practice certification exam question. In this module, you explored the fundamentals of AWS pricing, reviewed total cost of ownership concepts and reviewed an AWS pricing calculator estimate. Total cost of ownership is a concept to help you understand and compare the costs that are associated with different deployments. AWS provides the AWS pricing calculator to assist you with the calculations needed to estimate cost savings. Use the AWS pricing calculator to estimate monthly costs and identify opportunities to reduce monthly costs. The AWS pricing calculator enables you to model your solutions before building them, explore price points and calculations behind your estimate, and find the available instance types and contracts that meet your needs. AWS Billing and Cost Management provides you with tools to help you access, understand, allocate, control, and optimize your AWS costs and usage. These tools include AWS Bills, AWS Cost Explorer, AWS Budgets, and AWS Cost and Usage Reports. These tools give you access to the most comprehensive information about your AWS costs and usage, including identifying which AWS services are your main cost drivers. Knowing and understanding your usage and costs will enable you to plan and improve your AWS implementation. Let's take a look at a sample certification question. Which AWS service provides infrastructure security optimization recommendations? Look at the answer choices and rule them out based on the keywords we have highlighted. The keyword to recognize is recommendations. The correct answer is C, AWS Trusted Advisor. AWS Trusted Advisor provides real-time guidance to help you provision your resources following AWS best practices. It is an online tool that can help you optimize your AWS infrastructure, increase security and performance, reduce your overall costs, and monitor service limits. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.
Hello, welcome to Module 3, AWS Global Infrastructure Overview. This module will discuss the AWS Global Infrastructure, AWS Service and Service Category Overview. In addition to the topics in the video, there are also several resources available to further your understanding. This includes a demonstration which focuses on the details of the AWS Global Infrastructure, as well as a hands-on activity where you will explore the AWS Management Console. Finally, a knowledge check that will test your understanding of the key concepts covered in this module. After completing this module, you should be able to identify the differences between the AWS regions, availability zones, and edge locations, as well as also identify AWS service and service categories. Let's get started. Welcome. This video will cover the AWS Global Infrastructure. The diagram provides a look at the 22 current AWS regions, as well as a few regions that will become available soon, including Milan, Cape Town, and Indonesia, as of October 2019. An AWS region is a physical geographical location with one or more availability zones. An availability zone in turn consists of one or more data centers. To achieve fault tolerance and stability, AWS regions are isolated from one another. Resources in one region are not automatically replicated to another region. Therefore, when you store data in a specific region, it is not replicated outside of that region. It is your responsibility to replicate data across regions if your business or project needs require it. AWS regions introduced before March 20th, 2019 are enabled by default. Any regions that were introduced after March 20th, 2019, such as Asia Pacific, Hong Kong, and Middle East, Bahrain, are disabled by default. You must enable these regions before you can use them. You can use the AWS Management Console to enable or disable a region. Additionally, some regions have restricted access. For example, an Amazon AWS China account provides access to the Beijing and Ningxia regions only. Visit AWS website and search China region for more details. Whereas the isolated AWS GovCloud region is designed to allow US government agencies and customers to move sensitive workloads into the cloud by addressing their specific regulatory compliance requirements. There are a few factors that you should consider when selecting the optimal region or regions where you will store data and use AWS services. It is imperative to consider data governance and legal requirements when selecting an AWS region. Local laws might require that certain information be kept within geographical boundaries. Such laws might restrict the regions where you can offer content for services. For example, consider the European Union EU Data Protection Directive. All else being equal, it's generally desirable to run your applications and store your data in regions that are close to your users as possible. This will help reduce the latency for users and your systems that are trying to access your AWS resources. To test this latency between the location and your AWS regions, you can use a website like CloudPing. An additional consideration is that not all AWS services are available in all regions. Finally, there is some variation to the cost of running services, which can depend on which region you choose. An AWS region has multiple isolated locations that are known as availability zones. Each availability zone provides the ability to operate applications and databases that are more highly available, fault-tolerant, and scalable than they would be in a single data center. Every availability zone can include multiple data centers, typically 3, and at full scale, they can include hundreds of thousands of servers. They are fully isolated partitions of the AWS Global Infrastructure, and availability zones have their own power infrastructure and physically separated from other availability zones by several kilometers, though all availability zones are within 100 kilometers of each other. All availability zones are interconnected with high bandwidth, low latency networking over fully redundant, dedicated fiber, which provides high throughput between availability zones. This network allows for synchronous replication between these availability zones. Availability zones help build highly available applications. When an application is partitioned across availability zones, applications are better isolated and protected from issues such as lightning and tornadoes, earthquakes, and more. You are responsible for selecting the availability zones where your systems will reside. Systems can span multiple availability zones, and AWS recommends replicating across several availability zones for resiliency. You should design your systems to survive the temporary prolonged failure of single availability zones in the event of a disaster. The foundation for AWS infrastructure is the data centers. Customers do not specify a data center for the deployment of a resource. Instead, an availability zone is the most granular level of specification that a customer can make. However, a data center is the location where the actual data resides. Amazon operates state-of-the-art, highly available data centers. Although rare, failures can occur that affect the availability of instances in that same location. If you host all of your instances in a single location that is affected by such a failure, none of your instances will be available. AWS data centers are securely designed with several factors in mind. Each location is evaluated to mitigate environmental risk. Next, the data centers are designed with failure in mind. To ensure availability, critical system components are backed up across multiple availability zones. To ensure capacity, AWS continuously monitors service usage to deploy infrastructure in support of availability. Additionally, data center locations are not disclosed and all access to them is restricted. In such the event of a failure, automated processes move data and traffic away from the affected areas. AWS uses custom networking equipment sourced from multiple original device manufacturers, also known as ODMs. ODMs design and manufacture products based on specifications from a second company. The second company then rebrands the products for sale. Amazon CloudFront is a content delivery network used to distribute content to end users in order to reduce latency. Amazon Route 53 is a domain name system, DNS service, where requests going to either one of these services will be routed to the nearest edge location, automatically in order to lower latency. AWS points of presence are located in most of the major cities across 30 countries around the world. To deliver an improved near real-time user experience, points of presence continuously measure internet connectivity, performance, and computing to find the best possible way to route the traffic requests. They are used by many AWS services, including Amazon CloudFront, Amazon Route 53, AWS Shield, and AWS Web Application Firewall services. Regional edge caches are used by default with Amazon CloudFront. Regional edge caches are used when you have content that it's not frequently accessed enough to remain in an edge location. Regional edge caches absorb the content and provide an alternative to fetching content directly from the origin server. Now that you have a good understanding of the major components that describe the AWS Global Infrastructure, let's consider the benefits provided by the infrastructure. The AWS Global Infrastructure has several valuable features. First, it's elastic and scalable. That means resources can dynamically adjust or increase or decrease in capacity requirements. It can also rapidly adjust to accommodate growth. Second, the infrastructure is fault tolerant, which means it has a built-in component redundancy, and that enables it to continue to operate despite of a failed component. Finally, it requires minimal to no human intervention, and this is while providing high availability with minimal downtime. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Welcome. This video will cover AWS services and service categories. AWS offers a broad set of global cloud-based products that can be used as building blocks for common cloud architectures. Here is a look at how these cloud-based products are organized. The AWS Global Infrastructure can be broken down into three elements: regions, availability zones, and points of presence, which include edge locations. This infrastructure provides the platform for a broad set of services, such as networking, storage, compute services, and databases, and these services are delivered as an on-demand utility that is available in seconds with pay-as-you-go pricing. AWS offers a broad set of cloud-based services. There are 23 different product or service categories, and each category consists of one or more services. This course will not attempt to introduce you to each service. Rather, the focus of this course is on the services that are most widely used and offer the best introduction to the AWS cloud. This course also focuses on services that are most likely to be covered on the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam. Take a moment and review the highlighted services categories discussed in this course. Let's take a look at the most widely used services. The AWS Storage Services category is represented by Amazon Simple Storage Service, also known as Amazon S3, which is an object storage service that offers scalability, data availability, security, and performance. Next, we have Amazon Elastic Block Store, also known as Amazon EBS, which is a high-performance block storage designed for use with Amazon EC2 for both throughput and transaction-intensive workloads. We have the Amazon Elastic File System, also known as Amazon EFS. This storage service provides a scalable, fully managed elastic network file system, also known as NFS, for use within AWS Cloud Services and on-premise resources. Finally, we have Amazon Simple Storage Services Glacier, which is a secure, durable, and extremely low-cost AWS S3 Cloud Storage class for data archiving and long-term backup. AWS Compute Services include Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, also known as Amazon EC2. That provides resizable compute capacity as virtual machines in the cloud. The Amazon EC2 Auto-Scaling service enables you to automatically add or remove EC2 instances according to the conditions that you define. Next, we have Amazon Elastic Container Service, also known as Amazon ECS, a highly scalable, highly performant container orchestration service that supports Docker containers. The Amazon Elastic Container Registry Service, also known as Amazon ECR, this service is a fully managed Docker container registry that makes it easy for developers to store, manage, and deploy Docker container images. AWS Elastic Beanstalk is a service for deploying and scaling web applications and services on familiar servers such as Apache and Microsoft Internet Information Services, IIS. There is also AWS Lambda, which enables you to run code without provisioning or managing servers. You pay only for the compute time that you consume. There is no charge when your code is not running. Amazon Elastic Kubernetes Service, Amazon EKS, makes it easy to deploy, manage, and scale containerized applications that use Kubernetes on AWS. Finally, we have AWS Fargate, a compute engine for Amazon ECS that allows you to run containers without having to manage servers or clusters. The AWS Database Services category includes Amazon Relational Database Service, also known as Amazon RDS, an easy to set up, operate, and scalable relational database in the cloud. It provides resizable capacity while automating time-consuming administration tasks, such as hardware provisioning and database setup, patching, and backups. Next, we have Amazon Aurora, which is a MySQL and PostgreSQL compatible relational database. It's set up to be 5 times faster than standard MySQL databases and 3 times faster than standard Postgres databases. Amazon Redshift enables you to run analytic queries against petabytes of data that is stored locally in Amazon. It delivers fast performance at any scale. Finally, we have Amazon DynamoDB, a fully managed key value and document NoSQL database that delivers single-digit millisecond performance at any scale, with built-in security, backup, and restore, and in-memory caching. Next, we have the AWS Networking and Content Delivery Services category. Services in this category include Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, or also known as Amazon VPC, which enables you to provision logically isolated sections of the AWS cloud to launch AWS resources in a virtual network that you define. Additionally, we have Elastic Load Balancing that automatically distributes incoming application traffic across multiple targets, such as Amazon EC2 instances, containers, IP addresses, and Lambda functions. Amazon CloudFront is a fast content delivery network, also known as a CDN, that securely delivers data, videos, and application programming interfaces, APIs, to customers globally with low latency and high transfer speeds. The AWS Transit Gateway service enables customers to connect their Amazon virtual private clouds and their on-premises networks to a single, centrally managed gateway. Next, we have Amazon Route 53, a scalable cloud domain name system web service designed to give you a reliable way to route end users to the internet applications. It translates URLs into the numeric IP addresses that computers use to connect to each other. AWS Direct Connect provides a way to establish a dedicated private network connection from your data center or office to AWS, which can significantly reduce costs and increase bandwidth throughput. To wrap up the networking service category, we have AWS VPN that provides a secure private tunnel for your network or device to the AWS Global Network. AWS Security, Identity, and Compliance Services include AWS Identity and Access Management, or IAM, which enables you to manage access to AWS services and resources securely. AWS Organizations allows you to restrict what services and actions are allowed in your accounts. Next, we have Amazon Cognito, which lets you add user authentication and access control to your web and mobile apps. The AWS Artifact Service provides an on-demand access to AWS security and compliance reports, as well as select online agreements. Additionally, the AWS Key Management Service, also known as AWS KMS, enables you to create and manage encryption keys. You can use AWS KMS to control the use of encryption across a wide range of AWS services in your applications. Lastly, we have AWS Shield, which is a managed distributed denial of service protection service that safeguards applications running on AWS. Onto the AWS Cost Management Services, this includes the AWS Cost and Usage Report, which contains the most comprehensive set of AWS cost and usage data available, including additional metadata about AWS services, pricing, and reservations. Next, we have AWS Budgets, where you can set custom budgets that alert you when your AWS costs or usage exceeds, or the forecasted to exceed, your budgeted amount. Lastly, the AWS Cost Explorer has an easy-to-use interface that enables you to visualize and understand and manage your AWS costs and usage over time. Wrapping up the AWS Service Category Overview, we have AWS Management and Governance Services, which include the AWS Management Console. This is a service that is a web-based user interface for accessing your AWS account. Next, we have AWS Config, which is a service that helps you track resource inventory and changes. The Amazon CloudWatch service allows you to monitor resources and applications. AWS Autoscaling provides features that allow you to scale multiple resources to meet demand. Next, we have the AWS Command Line Interface, which provides a unified tool to manage AWS services. The AWS Trusted Advisor is an online tool which helps you optimize performance and security using AWS best practices. Additionally, we have the AWS Well-Architected tool, which provides help in reviewing and improving your workloads. Lastly, we have AWS CloudTrail. This service tracks user activity and API usage across your AWS accounts. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. It's now time to review the module and wrap up with a practice certification exam question. In summary, in this module, you learned how to identify the difference between AWS regions, availability zones, and edge locations. You also learned how to identify AWS service and service categories. Now let's take a look at a sample certification question. Which component of an AWS Global Infrastructure does Amazon CloudFront use to ensure low latency delivery? The key words to recognize are component of AWS Global Infrastructure, which indicates that the focus of the question is on something that AWS provides, instead of on a resource that a customer might create or configure in their own account. CloudFront indicates the AWS service. It is important to know which AWS service that the question focuses on. Achieving low latency is significant. The use of another service might depend on a different benefit. Low latency indicates the benefit that is provided by the component that you are looking for. Using the information discovered from the question, we can determine that the correct answer is B, AWS Edge Locations. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video.